Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our product roadmap webinar. A few things before we get started. This webinar will be recorded. During our Q&A session, we will take any questions you have or ones we can get to at least, but follow up on those that we cannot get to. Please post your questions in the question area that's on should be at your right hand panel. We welcome your feedback in the post-webinar survey. It really does help us tailor these to make sure that they are valuable for you. With me today is actually a different host. You'll see Dorina Strain here. She is a
Hello.
special guest with us. Dorina is one of our product managers in Germany, and she will be here to help answer any questions you have on the product roadmap when we get to that side. My name is
Exactly. Hello, everyone. I'm just gonna be mostly in the background and supporting Debbie in case you guys have questions or if there's a difficulty, which we hope there won't be any. So thank you for attending today. And thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Dorina. My name is Debbie Somerville. I'm the Director of Customer Success, and it is a pleasure to get into our webinar today. We will have two focus areas. One is a deep dive topic we like to present during these roadmaps, which is a series of different features that you can use for a certain process. And today's process is preparing for the portfolio board meeting. Also, we will then jump into some of our releases that go beyond the portfolio planning and take a look at our roadmap and things that are under consideration. All right, so what I'm showing you here is our lean PPM framework. And I chose this as a way to kind of frame up what meeting are we getting ready for and how then to get ready for that meeting. You obviously have your own meeting schedule within your PPM process, and you've likely called these things different. But we call the portfolio board meeting a really important meeting to approve certain projects based on what they intend to cost or the value of those projects, approve the budgets, and when you bring a group of people together, it's important to have them understand what are the decisions that need to be made and make sure you have the right people as part of that meeting. If you don't, then the decisions take a lot longer um, to make, and usually projects are not starting until this meeting is done. So get the right people as part of this board meeting is the first tip, and make sure it's clear what you're reviewing in that meeting. And we'll show you today what we think should be reviewed, but again, you may have some other things that you like to present. So as a leader in the space of portfolio and resource management, we totally know your time is busy, and sharing a few of these tips can maybe help quicken up the steps on getting ready. So when I speak of the portfolio board meeting, the key decision being made is what are the projects we're able to start, when would they start, and what is the budget that they need. So whatever you call this meeting, there's a few different inputs that are usually shown, and that is critical topics to discuss. So maybe that is a list of active projects that are having problems and might need to be considered as part of that new plan. Also, what are the new projects that have already been scoped at a high level and you have a business case of some level to indicate what's the value of doing that project. Also, there's usually a scenario option that's created, which means within Meisterplan, there's a lot of new great ideas that need to take place, and yet not everything can start right away. So a scenario model is created before this board meeting to position what are the projects that could start and what's the right timing based on the capacity you have available. So those are inputs to this board meeting. What I'll show you today are some of the oldies that we have from within this software already, whether it's the status fields, the bulk comments, some of the milestone dependencies. All of that helps getting ready. Some of the newer features I'll share is the roadmap filtering and some of the improvements we made there, board view, and the portfolio dashboard improvements. We will then jump over after the demo to get into some of the newer stuff that's coming and just remind you that where you can give us your feedback and let us know the importance of those new features. All right, so let's hop over to Meisterplan now. And I'm going to start at the project list. So when we think of that, getting ready for the board meeting, critical decisions on active projects is one of those areas that tend to be discussed at least first before you start talking about new projects. So Meisterplan, many project managers are already putting their statuses into Meisterplan, and what I'm showing you is a project list of active projects. And in many cases, um, you may not have received the latest update. And so one of the ways to get ready is to ask for an update from all your project managers so that you're going into the meeting with eyes wide open, if you will. So there's a couple things that you can do here. One is you can highlight or select all the projects in your active status and ask everybody for an update. Okay, you could just say, please update by, whatever date so that you can review those before the meeting. The other way you can do this is look at the last change date and sort by the last change date and select the ones that are the oldest and only tell those people to update their statuses. So in this case, I'll just select 3. There's also a tip I can give you. We have a quick little tip here that in our status of red, amber, green, no issues, critical issues, we have an answer called needs updating. So when I select these projects needs updating and I edit that, notice how those statuses change, and then I can still select and comment to those. Please update your projects by whatever date. Project managers who have their profile set to be able to receive information will automatically get that email and the comment saying to please update. And it will bring them back to the project details where they can review the project and give it a proper status and any kind of notes so that you have awareness before the board meeting. Okay. Now, one of the things you would do as the preparer of that board meeting is that you can now just start watching for the needs updating filter, maybe create your own private view for this. And when this list is cleared out, then you know you can look for anything that is a critical thing to discuss. Um, and it gives you a quick way to keep poking these guys to give you an update. All right, very good. Um, One of the other areas I would like to show you is kind of what the project manager, some of the features we have there for them to look at as they're preparing their update. All right. One is the project details have gotten some different changes here. And the first place I'd like to show you is the allocations tab. In the allocation tab, the project managers can now see when the cells are red that there's already a constraint here for these people. And it's important for them to talk to the resource manager and understand the significance of that constraint and just validate they're still comfortable getting the work done within the planned hours. The second place they can look that we have some new changes is the actual time worked tab. It's right here on the allocation tab, and it's the second sub tab here. When I compare actual time worked to the plan, it quickly shows me both the planned hours, the actual hours that have been entered, either by the team member directly, the project manager directly, or a quick import, and it tells you the deviation. These are the deviations they're going to want to look at and say, if these guys are not working my project, what's the likelihood they get the work done within the plan? And if there's a concern, they should be bringing this up as an issue, validating with the resource managers, of course, but also updating their status appropriately. The other place we have in our project details now the ability to, and this is an admin feature typically, allows you to add multiple tabs. Before, I think it was 5 that you could enter, but now you can add up to 10. So it's just a good way to organize the information so it's a little more relevant and easier to look at. But I have a tab here called monitoring time, and the idea here is taking a quick look at the total time or the planned time to actuals. I was able to see that person by person within the allocation tab. I'm also able to see that here in terms of plan time and then what's left to, as of right now, estimate at completion. So these are inputs the project manager would give to their status, which is important for the portfolio board to really look at critical issues. The other thing to highlight here in project details is dependencies. So we've had milestones able to be entered both in Portfolio Designer and the project details. Milestone dependencies are now able to be entered in the details view. And it's a quick milestone connection to a different project, indicating what it is required or is required by, and what's the related project you want to connect it to. And then what milestone in that project do you want to connect this to? So when you do that here, notice the red versus the black. The red's telling you there is a time issue with that milestone, that you're not going to hit the dates. And so again, it's a conversation now to have with that project manager on what's happening because the timings are a mismatch. These are very important things to look at to know if there are some critical issues to discuss. Speaking of milestones, let's go over to the roadmap, which is one of those nice to show inputs of the board meeting. Here's what our roadmap is looking like. Here's with that scenario option what I believe we can do. Do you want to approve it? But there's a few features here I'd like to show you that really have been an improvement to our roadmap view. Before you were able to see all the details, and in some cases that's just too much at one time, and so being able to drill down to just showing there is a milestone using that diamond icon is a really nice kind of in between. And of course, you can always highlight that project to see that one project's milestones. But what also are some improvements are these milestones filtering. So notice at-risk dependencies. So when I filter just to the milestones that are at risk because the dependency is missing the dates, it gives me a much cleaner view and looking for problems that might need to be addressed in the portfolio board meeting. When you're not looking just for that, but you might only want to highlight milestones within, say, the next 3 months or the next, 5 weeks, you can again filter the list down to just simplify what's being shown for that meeting that you have coming up. And then the last new one is filtering by project phase. So say you only care about the milestones in the next 5 weeks and you only care about some of the early phases or some of the later phases in order to show them what's possible. Again, it's really just trying to simplify the view so you're not trying to look at 100 things, you're looking at certain things. Now, our new, while these are not recently released, you may not be using these yet. So I did want to show you in the configuration a few different settings that are very nice for a board meeting. One is displaying a KPI. So think of if you're using project score already, think of adding the project score or maybe the proposed budget. If you were looking at active projects, if you had a view of just active projects, you could show percentage complete. What this gives you now is the KPI that is being shown and rolled up to a group level. And again, as a reminder, this can be copied to your clipboard and saved over to your PowerPoint if that's your mode of presenting during the board meeting. All right, another area that tends to be heavily used as you're getting ready for that board meeting is to discuss the new projects. So when you think of what projects need to be looked at, this view I have, and I'm looking at what stage is that project in, and is it ready to be discussed? Um, this assumes seeking approval is they're ready to be discussed, that they've gone through high level estimates, they have either a lean business case or a full business case, whatever your standards are. And in this view, you need to be asking yourself, do I have enough time to talk about 3 projects? If not, you need to reprioritize which projects. How do you reprioritize? Let me show you a couple new things on the board view that can help you get quite a bit nicer information at a glance. One is I would like to sum up the budgets or the benefits. Let's do, since I'm showing benefits, let's sum up benefits to a column level here. I'd also like to color code these by the strategy fit. And so based on how important I think this fits to a strategy or a business goal, that's a nice kind of separate information that you can see here without putting more on the card. So notice the benefits are rolled up now by the column. And if I add a swim lane, and perhaps I want to look at this by, say, department, I now can also see, and this is one of our newer features, is that the swim lanes also roll up on how much benefit, because that's the KPI I'm showing, how much it's contributing to each department as well as the overall level. Now, If you cannot get through discussing all of these projects just because of time that you know is in the meeting, you can reprioritize some of these, and this is ranking these, and I'm looking at the score. So 60 should be a lower priority than 82, and 82 should be a higher priority than 80. Um, so if you're, even if it's a guide to do your conversation, it's nice to be able to see that. And just as a reminder, you can also move things directly below a cutoff line. If you just know you're not wanting to talk about this yet for capacity reasons, you can move it directly below the cutoff line, or you can move something directly above the must-have line. So just I'm left click and I'm just dragging it above. It's kind of a hidden feature there, but it's really nice to kind of organize things quickly. Now, while not a brand new topic, something that is heavily used as getting ready for the board meeting is our comments. And so when you're highlighting a project, oftentimes you might need to get some follow-up from somebody before it's ready to get into that board meeting. But definitely during that board meeting, comments are heavily used. Whether it's the decisions being logged here or the follow-up to somebody, these are nice to just kind of quickly log your information, so that you can, you don't need something on a piece of paper, right in front of you. Now, just as a reminder, comments can be seen by anybody that is in Meisterplan. So just be aware and create some guidelines on what's appropriate to put in the comments. You don't want putting anything like that's the worst idea in the world. So just, yeah, have some guidelines for everybody to know that they are seen by everybody. All right. So one of the other inputs we talked about was creating a scenario, right? So now you have your project list, you have your active critical issues, getting updated for you to get ready, to grab those right before the board meeting. A scenario is usually done with one or a few people, and as you're getting ready for that board meeting, um, you would want to start a new scenario. Um, so option one for board, oh, if I could spell, board meeting 09. Okay, so what you want to do is click over here, add and open, so that when I switch over to Portfolio Designer, it's already opened for me. If it's not opened, you just grab that list down, view all scenarios, and look for it within the scenario list. What I do also like to do as I create a scenario is start a scenario comparison. So when I'm up here with scenario, I just click on scenario comparison, plan of record. Now what this is giving me is whenever I'm making changes, I can see what it was in the plan of record, and maybe that a couple things are falling below the line, um, uh, maybe you're pushing things out, but it gives you a quicker comparison right here in Portfolio Designer. All right, let's see. One of the first things you typically do as you get ready is you just filter your list to those newer ideas. So those seeking approval. Things that are active are still happening, right? Things that are not ready, you don't care to see. It just helps you kind of hone in on just the projects that make sense for you to look at during the scenario comparison. The other thing you can do is change your color scheme. Staffing is um, a good way to kind of quickly see what level of effort has been put in. And if you don't know what the color codes mean, bring out the legend. Yellow, or this maize color, is really people have made an effort to put in by discipline, by role, how much effort they think they're going to need. That is wonderful and really does help with creating a scenario. When you see purple, it means there's a mix between roles and people. And when you see green, it means that all roles have been assigned a named resource. So it is kind of typical just to have roles going into the portfolio board meeting because it's really saying, what do I believe to be needed, and what does that mean for the work at hand? And so if somebody wanted this project to start here in quarter 1, you can see from the red line, this is not able to start in quarter 1. At least there's a constraint of one or more resources here. Senior developers being the one that's constrained. And if I look at how much, I just hover over one of the quarters, or if you want to get down to the month level, you can definitely zoom in here. This gets into creating a traditional scenario. So I won't go through all the options, but just know you're kind of working in here for a little bit to reduce the constraints to a reasonable level, or know that there's a budget implication if you need to hire more people. And one of the options is, if we could hire, these are the number of projects we can get done. So I'll just skip over kind of all the other adjustments, but just know this is the purpose of a scenario is coming in. I can't do these yet. If I do option 2 and higher, I can do 3 more projects than the first option. Sometimes you're going in with 2 different options. One other thing to have handy, even if it's just to export it to your PowerPoint, is our dashboard. And so it gives a good option to show you, a good reason to show you some of the new features that are coming here. In the portfolio dashboard, if you had a chance to look at it during its beta stage, it really has come a long way here for you to get excited about. So besides being able to add different types of charts or just a certain KPI, we now have the ability to show a milestone list. So let me show you that quickly here. In this milestone list, you are able to, in any one of our cards actually, you're able to add some other filtering now for that card. So maybe in this view, I only cared about certain milestones in a certain phase or within a certain date range. Very similar to the roadmap that I showed you, but now you can add this to the card. The other thing that's new is being able to show different project details when I click on one of these charts. So notice when I'm clicking this card, it's showing me project score, estimated benefit. Yet when I click one of the other cards, hey, I've completed these projects, I'm showing the deviation of, here, of estimated at completion, deviation of cost, deviation of time. So there's different information that seems relevant for you to be able to see depending on what chart you're looking at. How to do that is configure the details list so that when you indicate when I click on something in this card, I want to see this information. The other relatively new chart that's available is the bubble chart. This one is fun to work with, but you got to think about what you want to show and why, because there's quite a few different things that you need to put into this chart. One is the title, of course. 2, what's the x-axis? What's the y-axis? How do you want to color it? And how do you size the bubble? So if you notice, what I've done here is deviation of cost from estimate at completion to the budget. I'm color coding by status, and the size is the score. So if you hover over any one of these, you are able to see that information directly in the hover hint. The other newer KPI that is available that you can add here is resources. And we will continue to make improvements in this dashboard. So continue to look at notes, our release notes, if you're interested in seeing some improvements there, as well as give us some insights on our roadmap, please. This can be really powerful as a quick way to set up a quick dashboard. And then just thinking of dashboards, I know many of you use Power BI today for some of your dashboard views. Just a reminder for those that haven't got into Power BI or maybe considering it, we have a lot of free templates that you are able to grab, and perhaps you have this portfolio board dashboard so that you could go right in here and be able to show them just what you want to see for that meeting. If you need help adding reports to your dashboard, we do have expertise that are able to help you get some things done. Just give us a call. All right. So getting ready for the board meeting is a few different steps. Just in summary, you're looking for critical issues. You're usually doing that in project list. You're looking for new projects to talk about. You're seeing that in the board view. You're creating a scenario to make sure that you're proposing something timing-wise that would fit based on the capacity you have or indicate there will be a budget need. So all of that is some tips on getting ready for the board meeting. So now I'd like to show you just some other features that's not necessarily getting ready for the board meeting that you would be able to leverage. One is in our portfolio area, our portfolio view. If you remember, the portfolio views are one of the first ways the projects get filtered within Meisterplan. And so you can assign who has access to which portfolios. Maybe if I'm a program manager in the software engineering department, I just want to give certain people, or maybe just portfolio coordinators or program management, access to this view, and they don't need access to everybody else's view. So one of the newer things, though, that is pretty powerful, yet it looks like a little simple checkbox, is the fact that I can look now at projects within a certain group, in this case, all software engineering projects, and I can see all resources that are tagged to a software engineering team, so that when I'm in roadmap or project list, I see the best of both worlds. The IT projects or the software engineering projects and any project that the team is working on outside of software engineering. This could also be done by value stream. This could be done by resource manager. It's a new checkbox that gives you both. So resource managers would get the benefit of this. Also, portfolio coordinators that care that they have their own team and they need to see where their team is allocated. A lot of PMOs would get benefit from that. One other new feature is project types. Project types, think of a way of how to organize the information shown. So for example, product development project types are different and usually have different pieces of information to show off in project details than you would customer projects. So you're able to organize the project details differently based now on project type. So this is an out-of-the-box field that allows you to connect how the details look or how the overview looks based on that project type. So think of capitalized versus operational projects, product development versus customer projects, run the business versus internal. You can have any number of project types. One of the newer features coming, I'll have a screenshot later, but since I'm here, I'll just highlight it, is we're going to be adding a third box a third form called our add dialog form, so that based on a project type, you're able to add different pieces of information right from the get-go on that form. So I'll show you a picture of that very soon. One of the other newer rates, newer features, it's called billing rates. Let me go back to our project list and look for project types of customer projects and show you what this gives you. And so notice billing rates, you don't usually have to put for any other types of projects. This would be for those customers that are doing customer related work and you might be billing out at a different rate per project. So this is giving you a chance to have new sections within your project and allow you to grab a billing rate that is maintained in the resource pool. So when you apply the billing rate, it's a different field than cost. You are able to override this project by project. And so maybe you want to add, for this project, we're building, oops, that's a lot. Make a good margin on that one. You're able to override these rates project by project, which is a really great feature for those that have different rate cards for their work. So take a look at that when you can. The other things I'll show you are more on our future roadmap. So those have been released. If you have any questions, be sure to ask some questions in the Q&A dialogue. Some of these other ones I would like to show you here. One is our task connector tool. So, feature. This is a really new way of connecting any project management or work management tool um, to see the work that is in that tool. Think of the tasks that might be in a project online work breakdown structure. Think of Smartsheet. If you get value out of seeing the tasks from that tool, why? Why would you want that? Because if you can see that there is more tasks than you're able to do within the planned hours, that's a way for you to evaluate, maybe I need more planned hours for those tasks. So it's just a way to bring information together here. Keep your eye out on this if this is of interest, and start talking with your customer success team, because this will improve and give you some additional information of seeing at a portfolio level what projects are outside the threshold, or and what projects are maintained, so you can see a different level of problems more quickly. This is one of the views of portfolio visibility when doing Task Connector. This is on our roadmap. This is being designed as we speak. If you have interest in this, I know there's a card out on that you can vote on, or just let your CSM know that this is important to you. But this now will give you the ability to see all the tasks and the allocations for those, the work effort for those tasks. And it gives you a comparison to say, show me any project that's outside the planned hours in Meisterplan, because you want to create some awareness. Again, this is just really a powerful way to view portfolio level problems when everybody's doing their work, but you can't see it all in one spot. This is bringing it to one spot. The add project form that I was showing over in project details is coming in this area. And what the add project form will give you is the the ability to configure what information do you want to ask the person bringing up that new project. So you might want to ask for project manager always, maybe there's business case reasons that you want to put in there as optional versus some that are required. Right now, we have put the required fields as Meisterplan required, but this will continue to improve on allowing you to indicate what's required when they're filling out this form. And this is where it's going as we speak, as they're designing it, so you can drag things up to the required side versus the optional. So very exciting there, and this is what it would look like when you're adding a dialogue. Today, only start, finish date, and name is being requested, and then you could always add more details, of course, but this gives you a quicker way of creating that form of saying these for sure need to be updated. All right, one other area that is on our roadmap is the business goals. So we've had this feature for a while, and it's a nice way to tie projects to why are you doing this, which is a very important thing in portfolio planning, of course. This is getting a whole new overhaul. So again, if you are interested in providing some insights as to what you would use this for, um, I will show you the place that you can log your insights and some of that feedback. But the idea here is being able to set out goals and some sub goals, and then tie projects to those goals. But more importantly, basically have how is this, so this is this two different sub goals right here, provides a different level of awareness on how are we looking to achieve our goals based on the projects that are started or planned to do. And are you comfortable you're going to achieve your goal? So it's a whole different way of looking and creating your own dashboard for some of those goals. So you can see this will have different ways of linking departments, the OBS, to a goal. You'd be able to um, um, open that goal and put more information into that goal, such as some general notes and some time periods. Who's the goal manager? What's the description of this goal? And some of the statuses, and then the projects that are linked to it. So, so you could see how it's really giving you a much better view of goal management beyond just project management. Percent complete based on the projects you've got assigned. It's really a awesome approach to seeing a different view for portfolio planning. What will be even further that our current goals doesn't provide is time-bound goals. So more, these are the goals we need to finish in the first half, or maybe the second quarter, or just the year of 2024. So you're able to provide that additional sense, when do the goals need to be completed for you to achieve the value. One other thing before I open up QA. So again, as a reminder, please add any questions to the Q&A section. I want to show you the area of our roadmap that's under consideration. And of course, you can see what's planned, what's already been released. But why I bring this up is there's a lot of great features being considered here, and our product team listens to you guys. Your vote counts. And so if you indicate something is important to you, please indicate how important it is. It gives you some notes that you're able to indicate what's so important, or what would it need to have for it to add value to you. this feedback definitely is critical for us to make sure we're delivering great features that you will use. So please come out here. I know your days are packed, but these are really great ways to make sure it's the feature's ready for you when you're needing it, because that early feedback is important for our planning purposes. We talked about that task connector tool. If you have a certain project management tool that you are actively using, indicate to us that you're actively using that and you wouldn't mind it being, connected. So that feedback is also important to define things. Um, Editing absences and who has the right to do that. That could be some important information as you're thinking of keeping data quality up to date. So again, I would encourage you to come in here, look at these, and every once in a while vote on them. So appreciate that. I will now open it up for questions. And Dorina, do you have any questions for me to answer?
Thank you, Debbie. That was very interesting. I think at the moment, most of the people are really overwhelmed with the amount of information,
Probably.
and and we don't have any questions at the moment.
All right. Yeah, that's a lot to throw
Ah,
at you.
just a second. Ah, let me see the note. Okay. Can I ask if the upcoming business goals feature is intended for use in a OKR-driven strategy? And if so, is supported for measures based on actual part of the feature?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Dorina. That maybe, we need to follow up with the product team. For sure, it's the time-bound part of objectives and key results. In those sub-goals being those key results that you have. The actuals and being able to roll up the actuals, I think, is part of your question there, and just not looking at the status, but able to look at an overall. Here's what I've planned for the 10 projects I've linked, and here's the actuals that roll up. That likely has to be a takeaway for our product team. Would you agree, Dorina?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, yes.
Okay.
And we are still in the development phase and the design phase. So if you have something to add to it, please give us some feedback over the roadmap, and we will take that also into consideration.
Awesome. So
Or yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
was just going to say that card that I showed you under consideration in the roadmap, you could add those comments directly that you would like to see that, so they can take that into account as they're improving that feature. Thank you for that
S-
feedback.
Thank you. So if we are lucky, this feature is planned for this year. So we hope you will get it before Christmas if everything goes as planned.
And they can continue to add to the card, right, Dorina? So
Exactly.
that might not be the December release on his, but as they see what else needs to happen, that could be for improvements. Perfect.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, there will be a survey. I really do hope you guys add some comments to the surveys. We're wanting to make these valuable for you. And so if there's any feedback on how to make these more valuable, or if we're missing to show something to you, please let us know. Thank you very much for attending and appreciate you guys as customers.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day and evening, depending where you are at the moment.
Bye, everyone.